khadar Vali sir doesn't require introduction to this honest August gathering. Everybody knows sir, and everybody is eager to hear to khadar Vali sir. Few information I'll give which you guys don't know, right? He is a native of Protodur town in Kadapa district, AP. He did his MSc from Regional Institute of Education, Mysore, and PhD from IISc, Bangalore. He then pursued his postdoctoral research from Oregon in USA, and after completing his postdoc, he worked as a food scientist in CFTRA, Mysore. Then he moved to DuPont in US, and he worked there for over five years. He felt that instead of working in a foreign country for a living, it would be meaningful to strive towards making a healthier society in his own country. So he came back from US in the year 1997 and settled down in Mysore. He worked hard to revive 5 different types of millets since then, and they were fast disappearing at that time. He was using those millets to treat patients with different diseases. He recommended consumption of those millets, which he called as Sirudanya. In addition to those millets, he also worked on different plant, tree, leaf decoctions, homeopathic medicines, and he claims that the consumption of Sirudanya can facilitate the prevention and cure of wide variety of diseases ranging from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, constipation, piles, gangrene, etc. Sirudanya also prevents brain and blood related diseases. He is actually adored by people in Karnataka, AP, Telangana. It's not just there, it also includes several other states, national as well as international. He is a big crowd puller, as we all know. So people often have this misconception that he is speaking only about health, which is not true. He also speaks about a wide range of topics, with health being just one aspect. His dream is a health and sustainable society. So without wasting much time, I invite him on the stage to deliver his talk. Thank you.
Thank you. And your VC and I were actually did PhD together in the same institute, same years. And he used to eat in a mess called potato mess. They served only potatoes. There was no diversity. Yeah, I am a out of the box guy. I mean, from childhood. My mother wanted to eat meat. I didn't want to eat meat. So I had to cook myself in my own house against my mother. I mean, that's how I started my life. And VC sir mentioned I am independent. Yes, I am actually not, I cannot be bound by these institutions because they always have limitations. And science actually should not have limitations. A truth seeker should not have limitations. That's why I call myself independent scientist from 1997. Because there is nothing should limit our imagination to seek truth, and that's when it happens that you have no boundaries, no one to say this is right, that is wrong. So you need to explore. And many people ask me when I say I have actually helped thousands, not thousands, lakhs, maybe now crores, and it is a job of saying in so this diabetes, BP, thyroid, all these diseases are declared by the so-called medical world as incurable because they only manage. But here I am, I've been going around and telling everyone that they are all completely just wiped out from your body, just wiped out, because we have been led by the so-called scientific world from the last 60-70 years in the name of green revolution. We have chosen grains that are disease causing. Why? Because rice, wheat, and of course sugar cane are the 3 plants that are selected by these food corporations in the name of fertilizer industries and pesticide industries. That's how the whole world is eating rice and wheat. all throughout the world. It's not 2 rupees N.T. Ramarao who gave, it is the corporations that made these things happen. N.T. Ramarao is only a tool, or MGR, or someone else. It's not 2 rupees. The kilo of rice that you are getting outside 50 rupees, it is not 50 rupees. In fact, it is 3,000 rupees. Everyone who is eating rice is paying 3,000 rupees per kilo. Am I making sense? Am I? Say yes or no. Yes. You are not really understanding how it costs 3,000 rupees. It's all in the name of subsidy. Every minister, every country goes and writes a check for fertilizers and pesticides. India writes 2 lakh crores every year. Japan, China, everyone pays the money, and it's your money. It's like this fellow, it is free talk time. You have paid 400 rupees already, and he says it is free talk time. This is the corporate culture. The same thing. They say it is free, 2 rupees. They give for people, but the money is paid by you, your money, 3,000 rupees. Because to produce 1 kilo of rice, whether you are in India, whether you are in China, whether you are in Mexico, it doesn't matter. You have to give 8,000 liters per kilo. To give 8,000 liters, even if you calculate 50 paisa per liter to the acre, it works out 3,000 rupees per kilo. And forget about the subsidies that they are writing in the name of fertilizers, pesticides, all that if you calculate, and the maintenance of these dams to provide the water, if you calculate all the money, it goes beyond 3,000 rupees. And it's all the money is yours. And you are all thinking it is coming for 2 rupees, or for some people it may be free also. But everyone is paying money. And this is the problem. We live in comfort zones. And that comfort zone is actually the most deadly block for seeking the truth. So you need to get out. Academic institutions are not really fit to explore the science in its true sense. This is what I have found out being independent. So, to produce millets are the C4 plants that have wonderful genetic package to outsmart the so-called water need, temperature, and so-called harsh conditions. Ranging from 10 degrees to 45 degrees, these grains can grow. The C4 plants, they start building up the glucose from oxaloacetic, not from the pyruvic acid. C3 grains are your rice and wheat. So the C3 to C4 requires water. That means if you increase the water input, you can increase the yield of these grains. And that is what is made use by this so-called green revolutionary scientists, saying that in 1 acre we have increased the yield to 20 quintals, 25 quintals, otherwise it would have been giving 8 quintals or 9 quintals. And that being the catch, everyone switched to, people ask, why are we eating? In fact, I have just overheard many people talk, oh, rice we are used to, we are acclimatized to all this. It's only for the last 60, 70 years the human race, human gut has seen the rice or wheat or sugar for that matter. Sugar is 1891 or so, the sugar in large quantities was made from the sugar cane. Otherwise the sweet was the palm jaggery that Dr. G.B. Kera was mentioning all over the world. So the natural gifts of nature have been completely sidelined by this food corporate factory culture to replace the local foods and local diversified food habits. Can you believe the whole world is eating rice, wheat and sugar? And we call ourselves scientific? Biochemistry, a sequence of events happen from mouth to the anus, and you release glucose at the end of your digestive system. That means if you dump sugar, which just gives glucose in a matter of 2 minutes, rice, which has no fiber to hold carbohydrate to be releasing glucose, within 15-20 minutes it releases glucose into your bloodstream like a flood. So if you eat 100 grams of rice, biochemically the sequence of events should release glucose slowly and steadily so that the homeostasis of blood is not disturbed, and that's when you can have health. So the first rule of health is do not disturb the homeostasis of your bloodstream, because it is through blood everything happens in our system. So what are we doing in the name of food? Rice, wheat, sugar? First thing is you have disturbed the glucose balance. Glucose imbalance is created by these three systems, the so-called food that the human race is gobbling up in the last 50 years. First biochemical principle is completely negated, and we call ourselves scientific. Why no biochemist has asked till today that glucose imbalance is created? In fact, I am the one who has been talking about glucose imbalance, microbial imbalance, hormonal imbalance. These three are the imbalances that have destroyed the health of the human race in the last 100 years. Unless you maintain the balance, you do not have health. So you have plundered by choosing rice and wheat in the name of science, in the name of green revolution. How can anyone choose rice, wheat as food if you are releasing the glucose in 15-20 minutes into your bloodstream, and the extra released glucose has to be dealt with, and your liver, your pancreas, other endocrine systems are going haywire, working in emergency, trying to convert that extra glucose into cholesterol, into triglyceride, into glycogen, into fat, into making meat, and that's how you are all becoming obese. It is the extra glucose. And how much do you burn? If you walk 1.5 hours, you can burn 5 grams of glucose. So when you eat 100 grams of your rice, you are pumping in minimum of 40 grams of glucose into your blood within 15 to 20 minutes. How do I know that? We have taken HbA1c 10 patients and fed various grains and taken RTT, renal tolerance test. So when you have a disturbed glucose imbalance as a HbA1c 10 patient, when you feed these grains, if your urine collected has glucose spike in a matter of 15-20 minutes, that means the grain is releasing glucose into your bloodstream in a flood-like manner. And it is actually confused by the so-called scientists in the name of glycemic index. It's a very wrong way of doing things. Glycemic index is a calculated stuff. It is not a real experiment. So you add some fiber and say, this glycemic index is low. But the real test you have to do is to see whether glucose is released or not into the bloodstream in a fast manner. So when you feed, the glucose balance has to be maintained, means the renal tolerance test has to be negative for any grain to be your food material. So this is the condition. That means the glucose has to set in into your bloodstream slowly and steadily. There has to be regulation of glucose into your bloodstream, which is to be done by the food that you have chosen. This is the scientific definition of food to start with, because unless you burn glucose, you cannot live. Your mitochondria is designed to produce ATP, releasing carbon dioxide, burning the glucose. So the fundamental basic biochemical system is defeated, and we call all ourselves biochemists, not answering, not questioning this fundamental mistake of eating rice and wheat. No human gut can take rice and wheat and remain healthy. And that's how we have seen all these so-called diseases, all are arising from this fundamental imbalance of glucose, and nothing other than that. So what it means is that if you do not eat rice and wheat and sugar, 50% of your diseases will just vanish from this planet. In the name of white revolution, we started having milk, coffee, tea, paneer, cheese. How are we producing this milk? Who is producing milk? What is milk after all? What is milk? It is the first food that is produced by a mammalian animal to feed their babies. So cow produces milk to feed whom? Your babies? Your babies? It produces milk to feed its babies. The female counterpart of any animal, mammalian animal, produces milk to feed their babies. So it is the women who produces milk to feed their babies. For the convenience of these Western mothers, they said, oh, we don't have milk, because they are interested in not feeding their babies, they want to do something else. So they looked, where? Oh, cow is giving milk. Oh, let's take the cow. They didn't have cows. These Europeans, and they don't have cows. Cows are found only in India. So they took some of our cows and did genetic manipulations, hybridizations, and produced 25 liters of milk from a cow. Hey guys, you look, your cow gives only 1 liter, 2 liters. Our cows gives, we are number one. That's how they get A1 milk. And ours became A2 milk. Laugh. That's how it happened. And how did they produce? With IVF, in vitro fertilization. They took the sperm of a particular bull and started injecting to every cow. So to produce more milk, they fed the growth hormones, steroids, estrogen, all kinds of manipulations. And you started finding these residues in the milk. And that milk is fed to your babies, and hormonal imbalance happened. In fact, the women who were menstruating at the age of 15, 16 started menstruating at the age of 8, 9. Now we have kids menstruating at the age of 3 and 4 on this planet. The average age of menstruation has come down to 9 all over the world, because all over the world, in the name of white revolution, in the name of milk being complete food, written all over in our science books, and we call ourselves scientists because no one has questioned this. We never questioned all this. It's all business. It is not science. We have disturbed the hormonal balance of human race. If women are menstruating early, men started losing their sperm count. It was 150 million back in 1950s. Now it is 20 million. The 100 is completely gone. And not only that the sperm count has decreased, it has become unhealthy. In fact, mentally ill kids, mentally disturbed, mentally deranged, ADHD, all kinds of cerebral palsy names, dysfunctional kids have started appearing on this planet because the sperm has lost its balance. It's been 75 years now. And now in the name of pink revolution, protein. We don't need proteins. We only need 3 to 4% of protein, which is absolutely available just in millets alone. Now they have got so-called soybean and sweet corn genetically modified with a herbicide called glyphosate. They are making animal feed, feeding these cows, pigs, whatever animal. Everyone is being fed, and then they are going to make the so-called McDonald's, KFCs, and Zomatos and Swiggies are going to be a past history. Soon you are going to get drones and they are going to chase you because you have your phone in your hand, GPS, whether you like it or not. Once you have ordered, it will come chase and put the burger in your mouth. And that is the future for you. In the name of pink revolution, they are going to disturb your microbial gut. Microbes are gone because of this. Antibiotics, steroids, completely fed in these meat products. You eat one egg, your microbiome is gone. You eat this 24/7 pulao, gone. Of course, we have lost the microbial balance as and when the mother started giving birth unnaturally, cesarean births. In fact, the inoculum, first inoculum of microbes, gut microbes, comes to the baby when the mother is delivering the baby through her vagina, and that is also lost. 70% of kids are now born cesarean. So this unnaturality has been actually the so-called modern living. IVF centers are popping up now for human beings. That means what? Answer me. So it is the food that in the last 70 years, in the name of science, in the name of these so-called color revolutions, white revolution, green revolution, pink revolution, and one more coming to blue revolution. They are going to not leave the ocean living things. The so-called fish world is also going to be tadrupi. Tadrupi means carbon copies. They are going to produce the same fish in tons and tons in a matter of 3 months for you. So when you produce food in this factory style, you lose nutrition. Once you lose nutrition, you become sick. And it is not India who is malnourished. The whole world is malnourished because there is no nutrition in the food that you are. That's why they have the so-called supplement business. You cannot get calcium from your milk. But all the medical, calcium, you drink milk. You cannot absorb milk from for calcium from. You can only absorb good amount of calcium from plant sources. That's how we are designed. Sesame seed has the highest amount of calcium. No doctor tells you for calcium, he is going to write you calcium tablet or milk or paneer. You are not going to get any calcium from milk or paneer or cheese. This is a fact. The milk digesting enzyme gets switched off once the mother weans you because the milk disappears. The milk is dynamic. The day the mother gives first day milk is different from after 3 weeks, after 3 months, after 6 months. Because the baby is growing, it needs different constitutional and nutritional values. So the mother knows there is dynamic corrections being done, and that corrections are done with the help of microbes, gut microbes that exist, and that's how you need the microbial health in your gut, and we are killing that. And these are the 3 main reasons. Of course, there are many more imbalances we are creating, but these are the 3 basic pillars of ill health. And this is the problem with the modern society. In the name of science, in the name of development, in the name of modernity, we are embracing the illness. And then we have so-called medical hospitals providing tablets, MRI scans, PET scans, CT scans. What nonsense are we talking? We create the disease one side and we say we'll manage. And that's how they declare these diseases as incurable. Diabetes is incurable. Thyroid is incurable. BP is incurable. Cancer is, till you live. There is not even a single disease which is cured or which is healed. It's all managed. That's how this pharmaceutical industry keeps growing. Billions of dollars. $825 billion is the profit that diabetic unit of pharmaceutical industry makes each year. This is the data from 2014. And we all are scientific and no one questions. And this is science for you. And that's why I call myself independent scientist. So it was very obvious for me in 1987 itself, when I first went to America and met a girl who was menstruating at the age of 6. And no one got any shock. I was the fellow, my spine was shivering when I learnt that a girl of 6 years old is menstruating. One girl was good enough for me to have shivers in my spine. And here we are now, the whole globe. The women are having so many gynecological problems and no one ever even points the finger to the milk. So what I am trying to communicate to you, if you stop the milk tomorrow onwards, next 6 months you can close down half the hospitals on this planet. As simple as that. As simple as that. Autoimmune diseases are all because of the undigested proteins that are creating havoc to the immune system, and we have galore of autoimmune diseases, sclerosis. All this is due to our wrong choice of the food. As simple as this. That's how we set out correcting these imbalances. How do I correct the glucose imbalance? A grain that can release glucose slowly and steadily, that means the carbohydrate and fiber has to be interloculated, which has to answer the test of renal tolerance test. That means even if you take a diabetic patient HbA1c 10 or 12, I feed this grain, after 1 hour or 1.5 hours, collect the urine and see there should not be glucose release into the urine. That's what is called renal tolerance test passing. This is the test anyone can conduct. We have done that. Thousands and thousands of gangrene patients were declared, tomorrow you have to get your leg amputated because no way, no antibiotic, nothing is curing. Sepsis, you're going to die. Cut the leg, cut the foot, cut till the thigh. But the system is infected. Let the glucose be controlled in the renal tolerance test. Start feeding these grains. Lo and behold, in 3 weeks, the wound starts healing. HbA1c, in a matter of month, we can reduce it to 7 or 8. We have done that. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 100, 1,000, 2,000, lakhs. Now, gentlemen, like, what is the empirical evidence? Only if you publish it becomes empirical evidence. And the system doesn't want to publish because they have declared it is incurable. They have declared it already. Because they have $1 billion business running on this. It's a matter of month. We can wipe out all the diabetic patients' diseases if only you eat 3 times a day millets, where the regulation of glucose release happens by the choice of the food, because the ratio of carbohydrate to fiber in these 5 grains which we have worked on, kodo millet, little millet, brown top millet, barnyard millet, and brown top millet is single digit. That is, if you divide 69% of brown top millet carbohydrate by 12.5% of fiber, you get 5.5. For an example, I am talking to you. Single digit. That has the capacity to regulate, to release the glucose slowly and steadily into your bloodstream. And even if the glucose released is actually associated with the fiber that is soluble in blood. So even the glucose that is available in the blood stream is not free. Only if you use it, that means it is not going to cause any trouble to the pancreas. Insulin resistance is not created at all whatsoever, because it is slow release of glucose. This is the science of millet. In fact, many people started calling me in the early stages of 2002, 2003, a magic man, millet magic. There is no magic. This is science of millets. That there is beautiful regulation of glucose, release of glucose is regulated, controlled, and only the amount that can create the homeostasis. So in a matter of 3 months, you can create homeostasis. Because if you create glucose balance, then everything starts falling in place. And that's how you get health when you eat millets. And that's how you become sick when you eat rice and wheat and sugar. And there are many people, we have been used to this rice and we have to get acclimatized. That is absolute nonsensical statement. Because thousands of years, human gut has been adapted to this millet food. Not only in India, all over the planet. There is documentation of first grass, domesticated grass, is the C4 millets. So it is this industrialized, fertilizer based, and you know how fertilizers came to existence? It is through the war technology. It is the bomb material that leaked and showed that the grass was growing very beautifully. And that's how they cashed upon, created the fertilizers, and the C3 grain selection happened because of this. So it's all business that created these food habits. And if people don't know the history of food, please be aware. This is how it happened. So rice was not your food, because rice cannot be grown in that quantities that you are growing now. And olden days in India or in China, we were eating rice. Not that we were not eating rice, only jamindars where there was water facility, because only then they can get some yield. Otherwise it was very difficult, and it's very tough to grow rice. That is Oryza sativa I am talking about. Triticum vulgare is another grain, that is your wheat, which has very narrow range. It requires cold temperatures. So the most unscientific selection of food grain is done by these scientists, not for scientific reason, for commercial reason. That's how you have all these revolutions, so-called white, green, blue, pink. They are all commercial propositions, not scientific propositions. So that's how I started my journey in 1987. Of course, it took me 10 years to materialize things, because that's how my CFTRI stint and here and there I went, and they are all sabotaged by these corporations, because they are the funding agencies. So we figured out, we grew millets and started feeding these patients. Lo and behold, there was no disease that did not respond. In fact, I went to give a talk in IIT Roper. There was a patient called Alzheimer's patient, 4 years. He didn't know who he was, he doesn't know where he is going, he doesn't know himself. It's not that you forget your phone somewhere and then say, I have lost my phone. No, this is forgetting completely who he himself is. So he doesn't know where he goes. So they have to lock him up. He was working there. So they, for your kind information, I have given all the data to Muthu. He will be making available all the protocols that are needed for each and every deceased, 108 deceased conditions and 25 cancer conditions and mentally ill patients, Manasika Roga. All those things have been worked out and they are all presented in a handbook form. You just have to eat this, drink this decoction, don't eat this, don't do this, like this handbook form we have given. Please follow that. Any disease that you find yourself with, follow the booklet. Within 6 months, you will be disease free, guaranteed. No, you don't need to clap. I'm happy you're all silent because you're all thrown into a whirlwind of thought process. Haudalla, that is in Kannada. Aun kada, Telugulo. Is that so? Isn't it so? In English. Because each and every word I have spoken is science, not magic. Magic is Christ coming and touching someone, a blind man becoming all right, or Sai Baba touching and a fellow who could not walk walking. This is not what I am talking. I am talking bring 100, 2000, 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs. Follow this. And that is science. Go anywhere on this planet. We have done that. Sharjah, people have become all right. New Zealand, people have become all right. China, people have become all right. America, people have become all right. Of India, many people have become all right. Punjab, Himachal Pradesh. I went to Himachal Pradesh. Tribals came. They in fact carried the millets. I have sent the seeds 3 years ago. Punjab, Gujarat, Ahmedabad, everywhere I have gone, people have, just last week I went to Chandigarh, Daldala, Amara. The town's name is Amara. Amara is a anacardiaceae plant which produces khatta, sour plant. They have been eating that vitamin C and fermented porridge of kodo in the beautiful sunshine. They never fell sick. They didn't have diabetes. They didn't have BP. They didn't have thyroid problem. But now, 1 rupee rice, 2 rupee rice, they are eating that, and noodles, and of course gutka and liquor has reached them. They are all sick. They have also got this PDF. They have also cured. Thousands and thousands are getting healed. This is the science of millets, because the interloculated fiber. What is fiber? How does it cure? I will come to it in the next 5-10 minutes. I actually started at 4:08. I have already spoken 40 minutes. So I will speak another 10 minutes. There is a lot more to communicate to you, but I believe, communicated the essence of it, and we can go into details. It takes long time. We can have a question and answer session. So you make porridge out of these wonderful fiber-rich grains which harbor thousands of microbes that are very, very symbiotic to your guts. So you make porridge out of these wonderful grains, these 5 grains. And many people think nutritional grains, all nutritional grains cannot be healing grains because there is not enough fiber. The next 5 grains, finger millet, proso millet, pearl millet, great millet, and corn. Of course it is not a millet, it is another grain. These 5 grains have got fiber in a low quantity. Carbohydrate approximately 60 to 70. Every grain has got. Of course, the rice Oryza sativa has got 79 grams. And fiber is 0.2 grams. And many people think, oh, black rice is good, old rice is good, brown rice is good. All the rice, basmati rice, every rice has got 0.2 grams fiber only. So that means it doesn't answer RTT test. So over a period of time, when you keep eating rice, and that's the reason why everyone is falling sick. It's not that, oh, I have no diabetes. If you not have diabetes, you are obese. If you are not have obese, you have BP. If you are not BP, you have got thyroid disturbance. All are the same diseases. You are naming them differently because you are identifying it with particular organ. But the disease originates in the form of EMF, electron motive force. It is not even radicals. This many people talk, oh, free radicals, you have to eliminate. It is not a free radical. It is electron tumbling down through energy levels, P450 systems, cytochrome systems. So when energy levels of 1 to sing, there is a leak, and that leak of electron energy is what can translate, transcribe, and take in the form of toxic morbid waste. And that is the source of disease, EMF. That means, just I'll give you an example. You are producing ATP, burning the glucose. And what do you produce at the end of the day? Carbon dioxide. And imagine I just snub your nose and do not allow you to release the carbon dioxide, you will die in a matter of 3 minutes. That means a beautiful respiration has to happen to get the carbon dioxide out. The carbon dioxide is the result of this huge amount of EMF in trying to create ATP. You understand what I am talking? And that is the disease. So you need to have PMF, proton motive force, and that's where your salts and your walking, everything comes into picture. So the one who walks long distances is automatically free from disease because he is providing PMF, proton motive force. Now that proton motive force, if you translate, it's a pool of aromatic electrons in the form of lignans in these wonderful millets. So it is the electronic motive force that is being annulled by the PMF, the lignans of these millets. The soluble fiber of these millets has got wonderful lignans which are actually the most antioxidant in the whole plant world. There are many plants which have different kinds of antioxidant properties, but they are all individually specific to particular range of EMF, whereas these 5 grains have got lignans in them which are actually a pool of aromatic molecules, different kinds having different openings, so that they can annul the EMF. And EMF is disease because it is the generation of free radicals or electronegativity which need not be defined as a particle. It is a pool of energy varying in quantity. If your organ gets affected, that's organelle disease. If the whole system gets, then the system gets into sickness. So you don't have disease in different names. It is one and the same. It is the disturbed energy. So the energy imbalance is the source of your disease. That can be translated, transcribed into microbial imbalance, hormonal imbalance, glucose imbalance. So then the whole thing put together, if you can correct these imbalances, you are disease free. And that's why I claim millet as food is complete health. So this is millets for health. And now what is beyond? Health and beyond. To produce this sugar cane, rice and wheat, we have devastated the planet. Centrally producing, we built dams, cut the forests, destroyed huge number of biodiversified for both fauna and flora, and we have translated everything into meat, rice, wheat and sugar. On top of it, we are also addicted to coffee and tea. The whole human race either drinks coffee or tea. All the mountains of the planet have been devastated by sugar estate. In the plains of the mountains, coffee estates and tea estates all over the world. Not only in India, whole Everest is devastated by tea estates, and our Western Ghats is devastated by coffee estates. You go to Brazil, you go to Cuba, you go to Ethiopia, you go anywhere. There are no mountains, and mountains are the source of rivers. And people are running around, save soil, save rivers. How do you do that? Unless you stop drinking coffee and tea, unless you stop eating rice and wheat, you can never save soil. You really want to save soil? Spread the soil with this C4 millets. There is no need for you to do anything else. The roots of the C4 grasses is what holds the subsurface topsoil. In fact, we have seen this happen in any landslides can be stopped only by growing grass. That is C4 grasses. They have the capacity to hold and then make humus. So even from natural calamities like huge winds, huge floods, hardcore sun, the soil can be saved by only growing millets and millets only. So food can be grown freely all over the world. In fact, food should be free if you choose millets, because anywhere and everywhere you can grow. Human race, in the name of commerce, has chosen the wrong path. If we were to think scientifically, last 70 years, by now human race should have been eating millets, and that too free. No one need to be selling food at all. Just like no one need to sell water, no one need to sell air. But we are doing all the three right now in the name of Corona. This is the science of being truthful to nature. We have not been truthful to nature, and we call ourselves scientists. We are not scientists at all. Because if we were scientists, we should have done this. Because we have proven thousands of these modern day diseases have been wiped out. Complete health, wellness has come back into these diseased bodies. This is how I have been embracing millets as the food for future, and you can call superfood or whatever adjectives that you want to give. So there is enough science. Of course, my daughter runs a YouTube channel called Millet Magic, Dr. Sarala. And it is magic because no one is able to cure these diseases. By just eating millets on a regular basis, you can cure yourself. And it is free because it is backed by wonderful fiber science. And till today, many of the so-called science, what is the evidence? Only if you do research and publish, it becomes evidence. I am the first one talking all these points. So I have no publication because the system doesn't want to publish all this. So if you have guts, if you are out of the box, please do the experiments. All the information is freely available on the social media, and we have published a lot of PDFs. Of course, the science that I have talked, because the audience to which I am addressing, I go and talk in villages, EMF, PMF, useless fellow is talking. So I talk differently. I propose and put across the information in a different fashion. But basic fundamental science is involved. Only then you can heal the bodies. It's not magic. It is not diet plan to remove you out of the immediate thing. This is sustainable living planet that can vibrantly live into future if only human race chooses the food rightly. That's how I end up saying, if your food is right, there is no need for medicine, and if your food is wrong, no medicine works. And people are naturopathy, allopathy, patopathy. Nothing works, go to Tirupati, you will become Draupadi, nothing else. I stop here. I have taken 43 minutes. Floor is open for discussion, and this is where you can question me. Lot more answers will come through. Though I would love to actually speak for 1 more hour. There are different aspects. The decoctions that G.B.K. Rao talked. See, luckily, we both have actually independently worked. Same year, 1997, he started 94. He has also had the same imagination. I have also had the same imagination. God brought us together in 2015 or so. So we have been working together. And it's a wonderful place that he has created. In fact, he didn't say the way I wanted him to say. Pragati Sudhama, the gateway of health. You enter there, you are entering the health. So the gateway of health is waiting for you, Pragati Sudhama, and beyond you can protect your environment, you can protect your soil, you can protect your, and beyond that actually we have created local, desi. In fact, the cookbook we have produced, Pakasri, it is also there. In that we use mud pots to create ambali, the fermented porridge. You need the mud pots because the fermentation, tie the cotton cloth, there has to be complete air going into the thing, otherwise it becomes anaerobic fermentation, which is not the right thing for our guts. Once they go in, we have to have enough oxygen. That's why you need good breathing, so you need to walk, and most importantly you need vitamin D, vitamin B, vitamin C. These three if you are providing on a daily basis, you will have no reason to fall sick. No reason to fall sick. And vitamin C is what is amara, that is mango, gooseberry, lemon, all these khatta things, all these pulupu padarthal, vitamin C, you need, must and should eat. Actually, Dr. G.B.K. Rao showed a beautiful picture of achar, the uragai. So uragai is a must. So you have fermented porridge, put some uragai and sit in the rising sun and eat. Nothing better than that for your life. Just imagine that. Ambali, uragai and rising sun, and that is the gateway for health. And you can maintain this lifelong. And it is no money at all. 1 kilo, even if it costs 200 rupees, no subsidies. No one is giving subsidy to millets. No subsidies, 200 rupees, 1 kilo, 40 liters of water, 40 people, Ambali. How much money you are spending? 50 rupees, 50 paisa. That's all. Complete health. Now time for you to go and take care of your kitchens. You have lost your health in your kitchen, but you are searching in the hospitals. How stupid can we be? Thank you very much.